Streaming now, this is the Wood TV Live Desk.
And good morning, everyone. Phil Penarski here with the Wood TV Live Desk. Hope you're having a great start to your Wednesday. Well, coming up later this month, it will be the State of the Child Conference being held and put on by the Wedgwood Christian Services. And we're here to really break everything down and kind of let everybody know what they can expect. So we are now being joined by Brooke Jevics with Wedgwood Christian Services and also Judge Kathleen Feeney. Thank you both so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course, and before we get into sort of the itinerary and some of the things people can kind of expect to witness and be a part of during the conference, I did want to touch on what exactly State of the Child is and kind of just break it down for people that maybe aren't familiar with the conference. So Brooke, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, you bet. Thank you for asking. Wedgwood's State of the Child is a half-day conference here in Grand Rapids, Michigan at Frederick Meyer Gardens. It is an important event that brings our local teens, it's led by local teens, talking about their experiences with mental health, emotional, and behavioral health, along with what they're seeing their peers deal with. Their comments are paired with a panel made up of community leaders and experts that represent the court system, which is why Judge Feeney is here with me today, the school system, the healthcare system, and also two therapists from Wedgwood Christian Services, one therapist from our community counseling program, and one therapist from our residential treatment therapy and counseling programs. Following the panel discussion, we have focused breakout sessions that I'm sure we'll probably talk about, and then we end with a keynote speaker, which is new this year. So overall, though, it is a half-day conference that helps raise your awareness and educate you about our youth and family, the toughest challenges our youth and families are facing regarding mental, emotional, and behavioral health, what they're dealing with regarding relationships, substance use, life online, and all of those things that impact our mental health. And you should leave with feeling like a stronger advocate and having solutions on how you can help invest in our children and families today.
And Judge Feeney, as Brooke mentioned, you are actually on the panel. You'll be talking and being able to answer a lot of questions. What are some of the things, for you joining the panel? What was it like? Why did you feel like this was something that you wanted to be a part of and really kind of give voice to?
For the last 22, 23 years, I was a circuit court judge here in Kent County doing the family docket, which means divorce cases, custody, paternity, child support, abuse and neglect, delinquency, PPOs, adoptions, all of those things. And it's overwhelming to see the number of children, the number of parents who are really struggling with emotional issues, substance abuse issues, addiction issues, and all of those touch on the topics that the State of the Child is going to be covering. It's really a unique perspective to sit as a judge in all these cases, to see how families are really struggling to try to overcome the issues that they're dealing with, whether it's vaping, whether it's addiction to video games and online social media platforms, how social media is affecting our kids, the inability of kids to go to school because of their anxiety and depression. We just, yesterday, I believe, national attention on the case of Jennifer Crumbly, who was just found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Essentially because they didn't address their son's mental health needs. They purchased a gun, he had access to the gun, and unfortunately 4 young people died at Oxford High School. And so it's got just kind of the exclamation point on the fact that our kids are struggling. 1 in 5 kids between the ages of 3 and 17 are struggling with emotional, mental health issues, developmental issues, and we really need to bring a focus on these issues. Brushing them under the rug, saying, oh no, not my kid, oh no, that's something else we don't have to deal with, that is no longer an option for us.
Right. And Brooke, speaking for Wedgwood, obviously putting on this event again, why is this an event that you guys keep bringing back and really want people to take advantage of by either being there in person or hearing from the keynote speakers and really not only hearing from these professionals but also maybe getting in contact with some of the other parents and really being able to have a discussion about raising their child in today's day and age?
Well, like Judge Feeney just said, it is a really critical thing that we are all paying very close attention to. Mental health is health. Mental health is impacting our kids. It's impacting all of us greatly. They're saying that this next generation is the most fragile, persistently sad, and hopeless generation we've ever seen. We have to surround them as an entire community. We've been saying for decades it takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to be successful. It takes a village to address these really important topics. There was a really important report that came out last year, and decades ago, I think about when I was a kid, our parents were concerned that we might drink alcohol, smoke a cigarette, get pregnant. Our parents are still concerned about those things, but it has dropped down the list quite a bit. And mental health is at the top of the list that parents are concerned about. Kids are, when they hang out, they're talking about their mental health. They're talking about their trauma bonding. They're talking about abuse that they either have in the home or that they know about at their neighbors or from somebody else, and it just perpetuates it. We certainly don't want to silence our mental health. Rebecca Ryan came to Grand Rapids just a few weeks ago with the Grand Rapids Econ Club, and she talked about the top 10 trends for businesses for the next 10 years, and normalizing mental health remains on that list. We are still, as far as we've come in normalizing mental health, we still have a long ways to go, and that is why Wedgwood Christian Services is committed to bringing this conference to Grand Rapids, and we urge people to come. If you have children, you work with kids, if you care about kids, you should be at Wedgwood Christian Services State of the Child event coming up on February 23rd. It's just really important to be educated and to know, first and foremost, how to even start the conversation with the youth in your life, or even your colleagues or your friends, even people who are past their youth ages, how to start and have a healthy conversation to be helpful versus trauma bonding and things like that.
Right. And you mentioned that it's coming up on February 23rd. We've got a lot of information for everybody right now over on our website, woodtv.com, to check it out and kind of plan for heading on out to Frederick Meyer Gardens for this conference. But for people that are interested in heading out there, what are some of the things that they need to keep in mind before they come on out? Is there anything that they need to be prepared to bring or prepared to kind of interact with? Just sort of what are the ins and outs for people that do decide to come to the conference? What do they need to know ahead of time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think you bring yourself, bring an open mind, bring a listening ear, bring a heart of compassion and empathy and desire to learn and desire to increase your awareness and desire to educate and grow in this space of mental and emotional and behavioral health. There will be so many experts at this event, like our friend Judge Feeney, who has decades of experience of seeing family after family after family facing big challenges and things they have to address because of mental health or emotional and behavioral health, or the things they have to address ends up impacting their mental health. But you will be surrounded by experts that are giving you verifying important information, again, educating you, but also giving you solutions and tips on how you can be a better advocate at home, at work, and out in the community.
There are some really great seminars planned for dealing with kids and panic reactions. When you're panicking, especially a child is panicking, they are no longer in this prefrontal cortex. They're back here in the amygdala, that fight, flight, or freeze part of the brain. Cortisol is flooding their system, and there's no talking to them. There's no rationalizing with them, and trying to handle that and get them back into that prefrontal cortex so you can have a decent conversation is really important. Dealing with trauma changes completely the way that the brain develops. I mean, we have typically until age 24 or 26 before kids' brains have stopped developing. And so even if we have adverse childhood experiences at a young age, we can get them the help that they need, get them the therapy and the trauma-based and trauma-focused therapy that they need to overcome some of those setbacks. We see generational trauma all the time. The grandparents have it. It's passed on to the parents. It happens to the children. And we really have tools in our tool belt to try to address that. but it's trying to get people to realize that, yes, this is something that you can do even as an adult. It's still tremendously helpful for you to be able to understand what your kids are going through, what their friends are going through, because your kids are communicating with other kids on social media, Discord, other groups at school in ways that we never communicated, we never interacted, and I think it has a really profound impact on kids' mental health. I mean, if somebody wanted to bully me, I was like the tallest girl in school, they usually had to come and do it to my face, or somebody had to come up to me and tell me that so-and-so said this. Not anymore. And it's very insidious, and it's very pervasive, and it's very subtle, and it really is difficult for these kids to try to cope with. So we've got some excellent, I wanted to go to all 6 of the breakout groups, but I couldn't sign up for all of them. I did pick 2. I picked 2 of the same ones also. So there's going to be a lot of great information, breakfast, chance to gather together. And you know what? You leave there realizing that, wow, other people see this as an issue. I need to see this as an issue. We all need to come together. It's a great community event.
Right, absolutely. And I think that kind of stems and adds to the importance of an event like this. As times are changing, so has so many other things in our day-to-day lives. Parenting, obviously, being one of those as well. And you guys have done such a great job of explaining the ins and outs of the conference and really everything that's going to be provided there for parents and people alike who are just interested in where we are as far as taking care of our children are in today's day and age. But we want to give you guys the opportunity to make your final pitch out to people that maybe are on the fence or maybe don't know if this is the right conference for them. Why is the State of the Child at Frederick Meyer Gardens on February 23rd the place to be? Judge Feeney, I'd love to start with you.
It is an opportunity to have conversations with other people and see exactly what's happening with this. Some of the topics that we're dealing with, I'm dealing with dating. Dating is different now, and how to deal with kids with respect to that. As I mentioned, the piece about the panic attacks, vaping. When I talk to the people at the schools, they say that is one of the #1 issues that they have. And so, it's a health crisis, it's a mental health crisis. And we want to be there and be talking amongst ourselves, because sometimes we just have questions. We don't know where to go. And this is one place to go. We start early in the morning. We're done by 1:30. We get you on to the rest of your day. But it's a great opportunity to be in places and see that, A, you're not the only one who has these questions. B, there are people out there who are trying to solve these problems. And C, we can come together and hopefully as a community come up with big solutions to some of these issues, or if nothing else, give you some ways to do your own research, your own reading. The experts will be presenting us with lots of great information. So it's a way to kind of put your mind at ease, make sure you're on the right path. So I invite everyone to come.
Absolutely. And Brooke, over to you, same question.
Well, Judge Feeney just nailed it. But it's an opportunity, like I said, to learn, but also to be a part of the conversation. We all play a role in each other's mental health and the community of which we live. It's a great opportunity to get to better know Wedgwood too. Wedgwood Christian Services has 33 unique programs that were not just residential for kids who've become ward of the state. We are that, but we have counseling services for anybody who's listening, substance use help. If you need help, if you know somebody that needs help, if you don't, that's okay too. This is a time to come and be a part of the conversation, to learn, to grow. For educators and social workers and counselors, we now have continuing education credits. So there's a multitude of reasons to come, but ultimately being aware of what's really happening for our youth, for families, your coworkers, your neighborhoods. It's important for us to understand what everybody's dealing with, why it's different than it was when we were kids, so that we can be better parents, better friends, better community members, better advocates. The best way for our future to be the brightest future, the strongest future, the most successful future for ourselves and our community is to invest in children. They're our future, invest in our families, we're impacting one another, and invest in our community overall. And that is what Wedgwood Christian Services State of the Child is exactly doing.
And it's great to have those conversations too, because I can tell you that when you're just talking to people at work, it's amazing when you have good conversations how many people are struggling with mental health issues, or have a relative who's struggling with mental issues, or know somebody whose son or daughter has committed suicide, or that has a trans relative and they're really struggling, or their parents are struggling. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to answer those questions and to kind of begin those conversations. And I really encourage people to think about it and to come and see what it's like. And Brooke, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about if people, let's say it's a hardship for them to be able to get a ticket. Can you talk a little bit about that too?
Oh, I appreciate you asking that. We do have amazing, great sponsors like Miranda and Wood TV8, Fifth Third Bank, and many of our other great sponsors have underwritten tickets for students or other people that may need help. So if you need help attending, please call Wedgwood Christian Services and let us help you find a way to attend. I think the other big thing to be aware of is this keynote speaker, Ross Sabo, is an award-winning mental health speaker. He wrote an amazing book about kids and anxiety that Oprah actually did her Oprah favorite book club badge on, so you know it must be good. But he lived in a family that dealt with a lot of mental health. He was diagnosed with bipolar by the age of 16. He comes with a lot of personal experience that he now uses as his testimonies and to help with exactly what Judge Feeney and I are talking about, know how to approach the topic in a healthy way and just start the conversation at home or within your network of friends and colleagues, because that's where it all starts, is having healthy conversations.
Absolutely. All right, fantastic stuff. As a reminder to everybody that the Wedgwood Christian Services State of the Child Conference will be happening at Frederick Meyer Gardens on February 23rd, bright and early. It will be moderated by our very own Miranda, and as Judge Feeney and Brooke have both mentioned, there's going to be a great panel, a lot of great discussions, a lot of important information to be talked about and discussed in-depthly during that event. Brooke and Judge Feeney, thank you so much for stopping by the live desk today. We really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. We are very grateful.
It's a pleasure.
Of course. And I want to thank everybody else for tuning into this latest edition of the Wood TV Live Desk. I'm Phil Pinarski, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.